No Luka Doncic, no Rui Hachimura Tuesday night in Phoenix. What can the Lakers do shorthanded to pull off a big win? That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day. I'm Brian Kamenetsky. That's Andy Kamenetsky. We have covered the Lakers for darn near 20 years, Andy, with the LA Times and ESPN and The Athletic, ESPN Radio, and all over the darn place. And we are excited that you are helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network in this or any other known universe, whether you're getting the show, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Maybe you're one of the 37,000 plus who subscribe on YouTube to the YouTube channel, maybe even watching live as we record this show. We appreciate it. And we are excited that Tuesday night, Andy, it's a big game. It's going to be a tricky one, though, because we finally got that health report that we were hoping to get Sunday into Monday. It came Monday into Tuesday. The Lakers will get some reinforcements, but Luka Doncic will not play, and Rui Hachimura will not play. So they're starting without two starters.
Yeah, and for that matter, Gabe Vincent, who we knew was not going to be available, he's not going to be there as well. Deandre Ayton, who it sounded like was going to be available. JJ Redick had said that he didn't think he was even on the injury report. At this point, it turns out absolutely is not. The new report came out. Deandre Ayton was not among those listed, but Austin Reaves is questionable, which I will say is at least a step in the right direction. Yep. And it feels like it is possible he could play, not just because he's questionable, but simply this has not been, from everything I've seen or heard, thought about as a particularly serious injury. It's felt like it's been as much about caution and the league-wide fear of calf strains than really serious damage being done to Austin's body. And we are, I believe, now past the week re-diagnosis period that the timeline the Lakers originally gave. So I would not be surprised if Austin played. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if he didn't, but the idea that I would be not surprised if he did play, I think that actually is more important. It's always, I think, more significant when you at least have some degree of optimism that a guy will play.
And, obviously that points to, a stronger possibility even that he plays on Christmas at home against the Rockets. But, Tuesday's game is a big one. Phoenix currently occupies the 7th spot in the Western Conference. Everydayers have heard me say, step one for me this season in terms of step-by-step goals in terms of positioning yourself in the Western Conference is put real distance between yourself and the play-in. And the Lakers are doing that. But, Phoenix, again, they occupy that spot. The Lakers win this game. They put 5.5 games between themselves and the Suns. And just as importantly, 2 or 3 teams at least that Phoenix, they'd have to slide past to drop into that place. So, this is an important game for the standings. But I tell you what, the difference between Austin Reaves and not Austin Reaves in a game like this when Luka doesn't play, the swing here is incredible because Austin didn't play when these teams met last week. Lakers built a big lead, watched it get away. If they have to go into
there was a lot of waves arms going around in that game. There was so much insanity. I don't even know what percentage of the what the hell just happened, how do we explain it pie can even be directly related to Austin. That game was weird as
bleep. No, but my point is Luka played in that game. And so you have, ball handler. Gabe, I don't believe did, but Luka did. And you have then the requisite ball handling in there. If you go into this game, you've basically got LeBron as your primary ball handler, Marcus Smart as your secondary ball handler, and not a whole lot behind it.
Sure.
Having Reaves there as somebody who can not only help it, handle the ball, run the offense, but also provide the ability to get into the interior of Phoenix's defense, it's going to make a big difference in how efficiently the Lakers can operate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to downplay Austin's importance for this game potentially. I just mean more as a reminder for those who have already forgotten that game a few games ago. It was weird as bleep, and there was a whole lot of stuff going on. And I mean, among the interesting side plots for this game or storylines will just be, how much does Dillon Brooks want to make this the LeBron v. Dillon show part 3? Because this feud is mutual in the sense that I think LeBron dislikes Dillon Brooks as much as Dillon Brooks has, for whatever reason, decided he dislikes LeBron. Where it is one-sided is LeBron would just play this game. Dillon Brooks is clearly interested in making the sideshow the main act, if at all possible. This is very much one-sided in how much it becomes a thing game after game going back to Memphis. So it'll be interesting to see how much that resurfaces in this game, how much it actually affects the way the game is played, the way the game is called. If Dillon Brooks gets himself into foul trouble again, which would be doing the Lakers a huge favor, at least in terms of the defensive compromises that it would put Phoenix in.
Well, for sure. And but again, that the availability of Austin Reaves is a big part of how focused is Dillon Brooks. Can Dillon Brooks be exclusively on LeBron? Well, if Austin doesn't play and Luka isn't playing, the answer to that question is very. You have much more variety in your offense if Austin's available, and that's going to take away some of Brooks's attention off of LeBron. It is worth noting that Brooks expressed a great deal of contrition for the position he put his team in, not for going after LeBron or whatever, but because he put his team in a really bad spot in this game, and essentially, you could certainly argue cost them a chance to win. And so,
who would argue against it?
I don't know. Some people are, it's not one play, never make, it's a long game, whatever. He screwed up bad. And, so
if he kept his mind for 12 seconds, there's a really good chance Phoenix won that game.
Certainly higher. And so that, I wonder if that impacts at all his aggressiveness. Does he, obviously the referees will be looking for it. Does he come out with that sort of, kind of mugging posture of obviously sort of trying to pick a fight? LeBron got the one thing that set off LeBron, that really set him off in that game, was when Brooks, the referee, I guess, looked at it with the idea of, you can't prove that he was trying to swat the ball at LeBron as it was kind of, above the rim and as after the whistle blew near the Lakers basket. But it looked pretty clear to everyone who was watching and knows a thing about Dillon Brooks, especially his relationship with LeBron, that he was swatting a basketball after the whistle at LeBron's head. And so that kind of thing did, get LeBron going a little bit. It's that's going to be the subplot here, but I really am interested to see DeAndre Ayton being back in this lineup. We can talk about him a little bit more in the next segment. It is going to be, I think, huge in a game where Luka doesn't play, in a game where you do not have Rui, who's certainly their most accomplished and efficient outside shooter. You need the ability to generate points inside efficiently. And that can come at the elbow, that can come at the bucket. just that outlet as a real pick and roll partner where with a variety of offensive options, it's something that Jackson Hayes just can't provide. He's kind of got the one, run, crash hard to the rim, that kind of thing. Ayton, I think, will have a few other ways that he could affect this game in ways the Lakers will need. And then, this is kind of a statement, a potential statement game for him as well. So lots to come on Deandre Ayton next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel exciting. You're not just watching a game, you are reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting, it's the best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads, money lines that adjust instantly, and player props that updates as the guys heat up. It keeps you locked in every snap, every drive, every game, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast. So can you.
Jump back into Deandre Ayton here in a moment. Doing to let people know about the Everydayer Club. We get your emails, folks. We know what the complaints are. A lot of you would prefer to experience Locked on Lakers as an ad-free show, and that is something that you can do with the Everydayer Club. If you haven't checked it out, you can go to the show notes. You can, or just listen very carefully right now. You can access what you get by joining the Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month, $50 for the year. Access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked on Lakers. You already listened to it. It's already your first listen of the day. Now it can go without advertisements. It's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, every other major podcast app. You also get an invite to the members-only Locked on Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of Locked on Lakers. So to do that, if you're interested, go to it's lockedonlakers.supercast.com. Again, lockedonlakers.supercast.com. And you can get more information there. Again, it's in the show notes. Ad-free show, Discord chat, some other perks going like that. So if you're interested, check it out. We appreciate it. And if you're not, it's fine. Show stays the same. Never going to charge you for it. Rebounding, things like that. We can get into with Ayton about how he impacts, like literally impacts the game. The other thing that I think is significant is I have taken a real interest in games like this, which are, I kind of call them we need you games. Like, they signed Ayton with the idea that on most nights he's going to be, behind Luka, behind LeBron, behind Austin in the pecking order. Kind of keep your head down, convert your opportunities when they come, but we're not relying on you to be like a focal point for this team. That changes when guys aren't in the lineup. Luka's not there. If Luka and Austin aren't there, then this really is we need you to be a focal point. We need you to be aggressive offensively. Probably you're going to need, 18 to 25 points at least from Ayton if they're going to win this game, especially if Reaves doesn't play. I think these are really fun tests to see kind of what Deandre is capable of doing with this team.
Well, it's also a game that you would think beyond the test of it all and the necessity of it all. It's a game that he's going to want to perform well in, because Phoenix is the team that famously drafted him first overall, same draft class as Luka, and by multiple reports told him that if he did all the proverbial little things and focused on defense and didn't worry as much about your scoring and stuff like that, you would be rewarded. He did all that stuff. It was a big reason the Suns went to the finals in 2021. And then Phoenix turned around and told him, well, if we can get a big offer, we'll match it. But, we're not going to go anything beyond that. We're not going to proactively pay you. And that led to him eventually getting traded to Portland and the relationship ending. And in a lot of ways, the reputation that Deandre Ayton fairly, unfairly, a little bit of both still deals with. But we do know he has said it bothers him. He doesn't like being seen as a not winning player. He's done all the things that have been needed of him in LA. And I think he's really gone about it for the right reasons. But I would also like to think that it gives him a little extra oomph in this, a little extra motivation in this game, particularly in Phoenix, sort of the proverbial scene of the crime. So
I'm sure you're right. I mean, that never really goes away. I find that I see that as a nice coincidence for the Lakers on a night where he needs to come through. And the Lakers did, they and will need to do damage on the glass. They're going to need to be able to, generate second shots, second shot opportunities. Jake LaRavia was a monster on the glass the other night. Obviously, Ayton can be very capable of that. Had some great rebounding moments against Phoenix last week. I'm just thinking, from a shot generation standpoint, his, I mentioned the efficiency in the first segment. His ability to really be a pick and roll partner. The other half of that shot generation for the Lakers, I really do believe, is going to have to come from second chance points.
Right.
And then on the other end, the ability to get out on the break and run when it's available. You need to get the rebound to do that.
Well, guess which team happens to be the worst in the league on the defensive glass? Phoenix. They are the worst. They are one of the worst rebounding teams, period. But they are in particular bad on the defensive glass. Ayton had 6 offensive rebounds in the last game against Phoenix. Jake LaRavia has been on an offensive rebounding tear. Jared Vanderbilt has been on offensive rebounding tear. These things are going to be really important for the Lakers. The Suns aren't necessarily one of the worst teams in the league at surrendering second chance points, but just as many possessions and as many opportunities that the Lakers can give themselves chances to make this happen, or just minimize the amount of possessions Phoenix gets, because they're a team that often gets by on just the sheer amount of possessions they can generate. They're helping themselves along those lines. So I agree. The glass is going to be really big in this game. Having Ayton back for that reason alone, again, combined with what Vando and Jake have been doing over the last several games, I think is going to be really, really important.
I wonder, I'm at least for the moment, kind of approaching this with the idea that Austin doesn't play.
Okay.
Because he hasn't played yet. And, since the injury and until he's back on the floor, love that he's moving in the right direction. Certainly seems like he will at the least play on Thursday. But until we get the sign off that he is playing, sort of approaching it with the idea that he's not, they can win against the Suns, I think, because some of these deficiencies line up in ways the Lakers actually kind of can take advantage of what Phoenix does. The Suns are good. They're not great. We've talked about Ayton back. The Lakers have the ability to, I think, punish the Suns more on the glass than maybe they could other teams. But you still got to figure out who is going to be able to generate shots. The Suns do get after you. They have a lot of guys, physical wings, and Ryan Dunn is a good defender, and Brooks is obviously a good defender, and they've got Royce O'Neal. They got guys who can kind of get out there and do it. And if the Lakers aren't going to, they're not going to have a lot of guys who can create their own shot. So I am wondering where the offense comes from. Who is, if it's LeBron and Ayton, who is the and in this game? It's going to have to start with maybe making more 3-pointers than they did the other night against the Clippers. They're not.
It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible not to.
That's
in all
true.
Honesty,
I mean, you're not going to win. This is a game where they're probably going to need to shoot 36% from 3-point range to give themselves a really good chance to win.
I'll tell you, as much as you are correct, they're going to have to shoot better than they did against the Clippers if they want to win this game. I'm actually more concerned about preventing turnovers because Phoenix is the best team in the league with steals. They're second in the league for opponent turnovers, second in the league for points off turnovers. So they have to be super careful with the ball. It's a point of emphasis for the Lakers anyway, but we know they can get loose with the ball. Over the last 5 games, though, other than that, again, completely everything went sideways game against Phoenix where LeBron had 8 turnovers, 6 of which, though, were in the first half. Like, it was a very front-loaded turnover performance for LeBron. Over the last 5 games, he's actually been very good taking care of the ball. He has not had more than 3 turnovers in any of those games and only 2 in 2 of them. So, and then he had a second half against Phoenix where he only turned the ball over twice. So
LeBron is just playing significantly better over. Like, you don't have to get deep into it. Yeah, maybe you can answer on the other side too, and we'll get into some of this Austin Reaves chatter as well about the All-Star. JJ Redick talking about him again in the All-Star game. But just broadly speaking, are you feeling better about LeBron than you had been? Like, avoiding injuries and all that kind of stuff, but like the basic, like, okay, he looks like he can produce.
He definitely looks better. LeBron absolutely looks better. I have concerns just about how much his body can handle simply because this is uncharted territory. And I think it's Pollyanna just to assume he can do it because he's LeBron. But if you're asking me, has he looked better? Has he performed better? Has he looked more comfortable? The answer is yes.
Yeah. There was a worry, and it was legitimate, like that. Oh, like this maybe, like, he just looks so uncomfortable in those first few games that it was reasonable to think like, okay, maybe like it is possible he doesn't reach something approximating last year's level.
He's looked very good the last handful of games. Absolutely.
So I find that very encouraging. That was my hope with a little bit of time that he would get there. It's actually happened a little quicker than I was even thinking it would. Let's talk about Austin Reaves and that All-Star candidacy, which was boosted by his coach on Monday. That's next.
Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money better. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channeling that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options and futures and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You can expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Real quick before we get to JJ and Austin, it's worth noting as far as another strategy to try to go beat Phoenix. We talked about how they are really good at generating turnovers, really good at generating points off turnovers, and the Lakers are going to have to take care of the ball. They are also very susceptible to the exact same thing. They are one of the worst teams in the league at turning the ball over. They're actually worse than the Lakers. They even give up more points off turnovers than the Lakers. Not many more, because it's kind of impossible to give up a lot more than the Lakers do. They're both near the top of this, but the point being, Phoenix can be gotten that way. And it often feels like the Lakers need incentivizing to play disruptive, focused, energetic defense for, I don't know, crazy idea, 4 quarters, like from the start of a game to the end of a game. This is a real incentive, not that it should be necessary, but to look to do that, because you might create a foundation for a game where you get Phoenix out of their stuff, or at the very least, get them off to a slower start. Every bit of that could help in a game where you're going to be battling on the road shorthanded.
Well, I mean, I'll say this too. This is the type of lineup the Lakers are going to be putting out that actually lends itself to the type of defensive energy and stuff that you're talking about. Even if Austin plays, you're still down Luka, you're still down Vincent, you're still down Rui, obviously. that has over the course of this season tended to focus the Lakers. When they are shorthanded, they do get a little bit more consistency, a little more effort on that side of the ball, because if we're going to win this game, this is going to be a big part of it. We're not going to shoot our way and score our way short two of our, upper end offensive players, including the best one in Luka. Also, Andy, do want to say quickly that today's episode, remind people it is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time. So I have a riddle for you, Andy. What do you call somebody who averages 27.8 points, 5.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists, averaging on 50% shooting and 37% from 3-point range? What do you tend to call that person?
Austin Reaves All-Star?
I was going to say All-Star. All-Star is an acceptable answer to that riddle.
I was answering in the character of JJ Redick.
Right. Any player that has those types of numbers through 21 games played, is going to be considered an all-star. Those are all-star numbers. Whether people are used to putting that next to Austin Reaves or not is not my problem. Those are numbers of an NBA all-star, and certainly JJ Redick agrees.
Yeah, to put this in a little bit more perspective, he is 9th in the league. Austin, he's tied for 9th with Lauri Markkanen. This should be noted while playing alongside Luka Doncic, who happens to be leading the league in scoring. So it's impressive to be 9th under any circumstances in any context. It's even more impressive when you actually happen to be playing with the guy who's leading the league in scoring. Austin is 12th in the league for assists. That's another tie, I believe, with Jamal Murray. And he's 4th in the league for free throw attempts. So these are all things that further make that case for his all-star candidacy. JJ Redick talked about during Monday's practice that he thinks Austin absolutely should be an all-star. Quote, I imagine it would mean a whole lot to him. He and I had discussions just about how surreal it is for him to be playing at this level and in this position. I obviously absolutely think he should be an all-star this year. You always got to be careful as an athlete to stop and smell the roses. It's the nature of competition. When there's 82 games, there's not a lot of time to take your foot off the gas. That's the offseason. I think he's the type of player who consistently wants to get better, consistently wants more. He's willing to put in the work. He's then willing to go out there and play hard enough to actually go for more. He's proven that over and over and over again. Then he noted our first conversation when I took the job was, you're going to be an all-star. I'm not going to every player and saying that. I actually said it because I believe it.
Yeah, I thought that part at the end was funny when he's there's this pause. If you happen to see the clip on you can find it on your preferred social media channels,
including at Cam Brothers on Twitter, because we retweeted it.
That's right. There's a pause after he says that. And he's like, well, I do feel like I should tell you. I don't tell that to everybody. He hasn't walked up to Jackson Hayes this year and said, you're going to be an all-star. We're going to turn you in.
He actually didn't say it to Luka.
We'll see. Hey,
he only said it to Austin. That's it.
Rabbit hole we don't need to get down right this moment because we're talking about Austin. But assuming he is not, let's just say he's not voted in, which probably is unlikely. Is LeBron an all-star?
Unlikely that he will get.
No, he will almost certainly get voted in because he's LeBron James. But let's say he didn't. Is he on the team?
If he didn't get fan voted in, I'm guessing he won't, just because he would be seen as having not played enough games. I think he will get fan voted in, and I'm perfectly fine with him getting fan voted in, because that's the point of giving the fans a vote. The fans are saying we want LeBron in this game, and if that's what they want, he should be in the game. There's probably a part of LeBron. I'm sure he's torn between wanting, the historic significance of making yet another all-star team at his age, and also at his age wanting to spend the weekend doing nothing having to do with the All-Star weekend.
Well, he did say about like the Christmas Day game. It's like it's an honor, and like it's an honor to play in this game, and blah blah blah. I'd just as soon spend the day with my family. LeBron hasn't had a Christmas at home in like 20 years.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure he'd appreciate it. But I was just thinking about that because I suspect the league really hopes that he gets voted in, because I don't think they want to have to make the choice of keeping LeBron out of the game. Presumably, if he keeps like playing well too, and it just becomes to like, did he play enough?
If he keeps playing well, I mean, here I will say this, and now that I think about it, these are. Let's assume LeBron only misses one, maybe two more games between now and whenever All-Star voting ends. Which, what is that, like end of January, beginning of February?
End of January, something like that.
I mean, by that point, LeBron will have played 20-ish games.
That's enough.
Which is, I guess that's enough that if I agree with you, unlikely event doesn't get fan voted in, I guess you could feel like he would get at least have merit consideration. If his next amount of games between now and whenever the cutoff period ends maintain at his current level, then I think there could be a discussion for him being in there. But again, it's kind of a moot point. He's going to get fan voted in. And again, I'm cool with that. So
back to Austin then. Yeah, it was just something that occurred to me like, wouldn't that be weird? Back to Austin. There's no doubt in your mind that he's earned. Like, I haven't gotten into like who should be on, who would be on, who won't be. The Lakers under this scenario almost certainly have 3 All-Stars, but the record is good enough to support it. Like, they're a top 4 team right now in the West. It's good enough.
It's a pretty low. It's a pretty low seed for 3 All-Stars. I don't care, but it's a pretty low seed. Like, I'll put it this way: the fact that they would have 3 All-Stars, one of whom is voted in, and Luka's an obvious no-brainer. The fact that, let's say they're a 4 seed, and that's unusual to be a 4 seed with 3 All-Stars, that should not be a reason to leave Austin off the All-Star team. That's not a good reason at all.
The team quality, which is always sort of an issue that people get hung up on for these things. The team quality is high enough that you can at least be like, okay, well, like they're not like hanging around 500 is my point.
No, but it would be on the low end of good enough.
I'm fine. It's on the low end, but it's not, they're a good team. And I don't, without having done the exhaustive player comparison at this point, and where does Austin rank among other, guards, this, that, whatever. I just, those numbers are so clearly All-Star caliber. And then you start to factor in some of the things that he's done to carry the team in games that LeBron missed, in games that LeBron and Luka missed. And some of these, 40-point games that he's put up, like, he really has ascended to that level where he belongs and deserves and has earned a spot on the team. Whether he gets it, I don't know. There are always people who are. I think so.
I'd be honestly pretty shocked if he didn't get it. Like, last I checked, NBA.com, they do their MVP ladder, as far as like ranking 1 through 10, and then 5 other guys who's leading right now, the consensus for MVP, at least in NBA.com's eyes. Okay, I'm pulling it up right now in real time. Austin is in the 5 more section, and he's been in the top 10 at various points of this season. If you're considered a, dark horse or, next man up, still, receiving votes MVP candidate, like in the top 15 in the league, you're an all-star.
I would think so. These are hard teams to make. There are a lot of people who have a lot of different fixes and a lot of stuff for, how to make the league better and this and that. One of the first things I would do is add 2 spots to each all-star team, 2 or 3. The rosters are too small. I don't know why an all-star roster should be smaller than an actual NBA roster. Maybe they're worried guys won't play. They'll get out there and there won't be enough minutes to go around, but the game is already, maybe these new formats that all they're doing, dividing US versus the world, pickup games, all these other, it's a perfect opportunity to add 2 more spots in each conference, because you're already messing with the format anyway. Might as well at least make it productive.
Yeah. This new format, by the way, I'm going to go out on a limb, not going to satisfy anybody, but at least it'll be confusing as bleep.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but that's just fine. I just, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad, I just hope they do it for at least 3 years. They won't.
I'm not even 100% convinced they'll finish out this format during the game. Like, it wouldn't shock me if halfway through the game they change the format again.
Yeah, it would be something. The hand wringing. We'll get more into this as we get closer to the All-Star game. I'm not looking forward to it. I hate this conversation, but it is one we inevitably have to have. It's the nature of the job. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with over 37,000 subscribers to the channel. We, of course, want to remind you about the Everydayer Club. Check out the show notes to do that. You can get the show ad-free if that is your cup of tea. And we'll be back after the game Tuesday. Everyone have a good day.